If you'd like to see more of our videos, hit the subscribe button to stay on top of the market news. Good morning, traders. Welcome to today's market review. This is Fred Razak at CMtrading. Today is July 8th, 2020, and today is Tuesday morning. So looking at the highlights of the day, gold trading higher as the markets pull back after a strong trend upwards, and that's really very natural. Gold goes up, the indices go down. But first, let's take a look at the various markets. So as I mentioned earlier, there's no major economic events scheduled for today. This is really the heart of the summer, and you would expect lighter volume, but it's not happening. The markets are still trading, and we're going to first take a look at the currencies. The euro takes an about face and sells off from that little spike above that resistance-ish level yesterday. And it's in a 50 pip range, but it still did sell off. Now, the British pound actually changes direction on the upside. Maybe it's delayed a little bit. Maybe it's changing character. We're going to have to take a sharper look at that in just a second. Looking at the indices, both sell off. Both the Dow Jones sells off amid the NASDAQ profit-taking as traders are retracing some of those high-tech companies. Now, looking at the commodities, gold trades to new yearly highs, not all-time highs. But important to note that because as the indices sell off, that's natural that gold that goes up, and oil is pretty much steady at $40 a barrel. Now lastly, looking at the stocks, it's really the tech stocks that took some profit. Now the question is it taking profit or is it changing character? Most likely it's just taking profit. So let's take a look at the markets and see what we can expect from today's trading. So we're going to take first a look at the Euro USD at a 1 hour chart. And you can see this nice volatility relatively, okay, for a short period of time for the Euro USD trading in a 50 pip range. We did breach this resistance-ish level, but we're now back below it, which really means that if we look at a longer time frame, basically it's going to show us that it's really just a candle, not really a wick and not really a candle. So this is really still trading within its upper limit. Now, what is happening here, okay, as you can see here, is that we're forming a wedge formation. There you go. That's the wedge. And at a certain point, it's going to either break out higher or if it's going to break this wedge trend line, then it's going to take it an about face and actually trade lower. So something to consider as this is still developing. Okay, now looking at the GBP USD, we have a different story here. It's trading above its resistance level. It just seems like it's delayed. And so just keep it in mind, okay, because if the euro is going to push and sell lower, then I expect the GBP to actually play catch up with it as well. Now looking at gold, trading at 1794, hitting that yearly high. If we look at a weekly chart, that's really where we're at right now. And this is pushing higher, and this is quite natural that it's pushing higher because the Dow Jones and the other indices are really trading at lower, okay? And this is natural for this to push higher, okay? So we did mention this, that it may hit 1800, and it's right there. It's hitting at 1800. Now, the next real resistance-ish level is right here, okay? We haven't hit this resistance-ish level since 2010, 2011. So keep this in mind that this is quite an important interval, okay? If this does break above this 1850-ish level, we could go to 2020, 200 even. Okay, so something to consider as we go into the latter part of 2020, especially since we're going into an election year in the United States, number one, and we're going to go into somewhat of a challenge because the Northern Hemisphere, September, October, November, goes into the autumn. And that's when we expect actually the coronavirus to actually spike even higher. So something to really consider the next 5 to 6 months, paying attention to gold, maybe buying its pullbacks as it does break higher. Now looking at oil, it's unchanged at $40 a barrel, not much doing there. Now looking at the indices, the Dow Jones sold off quite about 500 points. Now this is a bona fide resistance-ish level, okay? This 26,100-ish level is a bona fide resistance. So every time we've hit it, we've sold off. Okay, so we're still trading within this range. Now our support level is 25,600, excuse me. So something to consider going in today. Okay, now the Dow Jones, obviously the weaker of the two compared to the NASDAQ. The NASDAQ is just taking a profit, okay? It hit our all-time highs of 10,600-ish level, and we're just trading at 10,500-ish level. So not much of a correction there. However, this can pick up momentum, okay? If it does pick up momentum on the downside, then it's something to consider. Now, you're going to have to pay attention to the FANG stocks, the Facebook, Apple, Amazon, Netflix, and Google to give us that direction. Okay, now when we do look at those stocks and Microsoft, okay, I always have to remember to add Microsoft in there. Now, Apple took a little bit of a profit-taking day yesterday as we capitulated to $377 a share. So this is really profit-taking, okay? But it may consider to actually, since it does break that 14-day move average, it may consider just trading initially in a range first before it does make any sort of correction either on the upside or the downside if we take that about face going into August, which is next month, in anticipation to both those events of the autumn coronavirus possible spike and the elections coming up in November. Now, looking at Amazon also taking the same kind of stride, okay, hitting and retracing to 3,000 from hitting 3,060, okay, which is unbelievable. Okay, for this to trade at these intervals is really amazing. Okay, since March 13th, March 18th, we've doubled, okay, in a stock that is trading in intervals, okay, that is very, very large. Now, you have to understand, to move a stock that's $2 to $4 takes almost no effort, okay? It takes 5 or 6 traders to do. But to move a $1,300 stock to $3,000 takes a lot more money, okay? The intervals are in components that I just it almost the billions, okay? So something to really consider, that a lot of money is being put into these type of stocks. Now, when we look at the JP Morgan, which is a traditional bank stock, it's dead on the water, okay? As that market has been hitting higher, this has not been doing much. So, you know, in a longer interval of time, I do expect that JP Morgan will sell off. Okay, now it might not happen today, might not happen tomorrow, but as the markets continue trading throughout the summer, it's things to keep in your mind as things develop. This is Fred Razak. I want to wish you guys a great trading day. Thank you.